So honestly, I've always thought about when I was a kid being honorable, like movies like, for instance, Gladiator. Inspired me to be the strongest as far as like the people cheering for him. Things like X Men and all this stuff. Never the villain unless it was like the cartoon who was Joker, who wasn't hurting people. He was just playing around with Joker and having fun, or Batman and having fun. When I was a kid, I followed Ninja Turtles and Batman. So like, it sounds stupid. I was a kid left at home like cable guy, but I learned from a lot. And when I was out on the street later on, I was like in elementary. Well, a few times we were just hanging out down the street, and like my dad was tired sleeping, and he didn't know, and like we never had a curfew. Like it was crazy streets back in the day. Recently, me and a friend, we kind of had a squabble, and then we got over it. We're cool, but the the amount of like the us having like a little wrestling match, like it's just amazing to know that I could teach people, but only when they're ready, because the streets are tough and you don't need to be looking for toughness or being a bully. But it is great that everything seems to have been a long road, like a journey for me. And at the same time, I saw things that like somebody was very important to save the world. It just always hit me so hard. Like I wanted to have a better life, and like even if I didn't live, it just was that dream. Like everyone cared. Like, cause I grew up with uh, people passing away that cared. A lot of people just didn't care about me, and it was really hard. But it had to deal with a lot of growing up trauma, and sadly, similar trauma like that happened to my dad, which he had cousins and siblings that happened to him, but it was way worse. But like it's a crazy long story, and I was blamed as the worst person because I was the youngest, but he for some reason took that like I was his much older sick cousin that took advantage of everyone and threatened people with death and stuff. And as I was still in his home, I remember he was talking about that guy better not be there, like Richard something, which has his name, same name. He better not be at the funeral because I'll kill him. And it's that guy hurt the family so bad, and somehow me being the youngest, I was like the most hurt because things happened to me, and it just never made sense with how badly mentally ill. Like it hurt me to just hurt. Like peacefully, I loved going to school. I loved the teachers. Some kids that kind of bullied, but like didn't get to. Like for instance, playing over under. Classmates they remember. Don't need to bring names. They kick that at me. The next day I went to school. I had clothes given to me from an older cousin who joined the military. And wore those, and they looked kind of fresh, even though they were old. Everyone was super nice to me the next day. So these type of things affected me, and it was hard to think that I was ever going to be normal. And like these type of things that meant the world to me seemed like I was never going to get them, ever achieve goodness. UMA failed me when I wanted to be like in the medical office, as like I had done boxing. I didn't box, but like I did MMA, but like that was later in life. I broke my fist when I was younger, not even in MMA, and like I was pissed. I hit it on like a phone booth. It was like all steel, and I broke my hand, and I still worked for a week at a gas station where I was still like banging stuff, and it was hurting my hand. I ended up getting like a little brace casting on it. Took it off right away once it started stinking on my own. I got myself braces when I was working part time. And my older sister Vicky, she was always like, "I really want my own house back." When really, she should have been a good sister on that part. I'll throw her under the bus because she hurt me. The sister who I took in, she was gone for a long time, having to be the oldest, and my dad taking out stuff on her, expecting her to know what to do, and reminding him too much of my mom. And so there was a lot of drama and pain and suffering in her eyes and my other sister's eyes, but still, for the one that took over, who got to be the princess while the other one was away, and she was like, the only daughter there, like, it was really hard to understand a lot of things. But no matter what, as I got older, somehow my mind and my brain, everything, my intuition was always collecting data, and I just never knew. So when I went through a lot of things in life, Um, I just went through the right road and stepped in many ways. But I still feel like stupid and dumb for the things. But still, it's the stuff that I've done is like submitting to God as far as like embarrassment, shame, and just what I mean. I mean, I'm talking about like curiosity and like trying to find myself and knowing there's nothing wrong with man finding one man and living the rest of their life. There's nothing wrong with woman finding each other and living the rest of their life, or man and woman. The thing is, there needs to be less lusting. There needs to be no adult type movies because honestly, when I was a kid, I loved watching old school movies where they didn't show the adult scenes. It just showed somebody. It was like, whoa, look at her, and it's just slow motion walking from out of the pool. I mean, there was great movies where it didn't need to show where it kept escalating into this, what I believe is something I shouldn't really say exactly because I really wanted to press the, like, go give my testimony as far as this road. Um, One thing that I realized that's really important is the stuff that I've put on TikTok, Instagram, Facebooks, all of those things that I've always collected. And, it's just really hard to explain it unless you already know, with me just always trying to give coding because I was never in military, though a lot of people always were like, how long did you serve? And I was happy because I was older, I was mature, I worried about work. My dad was a carpenter. I was a carpenter, and I wasn't able to like always know how to like do things like blueprints or whatever. He'd just be like, "All right, you cut," or and I cut, and then he put it here and there. Or like for instance, I'd be on top, telling people where to drop the material on top, like the third floor, fourth floor, whatever. And then I was also the guy that was like doing some demo, pulling nails, labor stuff. Even though it was hard to learn how to be a framer apprentice too, because I was more on the cutting and watching him a little bit, even though he wasn't the best teacher. His traumas, his father. Um, I come from a family that got broken up and a lot of crazy things happening. And my grandfather, rest his soul, he was a gangster from Logan, the original Joker, as far as him being named Joker, because Joker was a great character. You wanted to be like the tough guy with that name because it was like Batman. And what happened was he passed away. My dad suffered a very bad trauma when he passed away, uh, and his my mom left him, but she also put us in a foster home in New Mexico. She got busted, whatever she was doing, drugs, boyfriend, prostitution, but she had mental issues, and she abandoned us. My dad, he's put us through a lot of stuff, trauma, ass whippings and all that, but I still praise him no matter what because I leave out the rest that I had to forgive him for when I think about the hard work that he did for us, for our kids. And as we grew up, we were so traumatized that we fought amongst each other. It's like, we were lucky that we never killed each other, That's how bad it was. And I always learned from my mistakes, even though I was a slow learner, a slow beginner. Sister, she's been homeless for a long time. I took her in. And, my roommate took her in like he's helped people get off the streets. That's, that's his story on certain stuff. It's just, he's been struggling, so he needs to get his life together and focus on, great things to come. That's all I can say on that part because I have love for everyone and it don't matter who they are. It's like everyone's equal, brother and sister. Like, so with that belief of me always trying to practice what I felt that I needed to preach and learning more and more and more, it just seems so clear to tell the world my devastation and hope that no one ever hurts like I did. I hope no one ever hurts like my sister did. I hope no one ever hurts like Anthony did. I hope no one hurts like his girlfriend, Krista, did. All of us are forgotten prophets that haven't been able to access our brains completely And it's been part of a domino effect in which I believe I cracked a lot that's important for the world to understand. Because domino effects, no matter what, once all the dominoes hit the end, it's the countdown of the bottleneck theory, you know? So these type of things that a lot of people are thinking don't make sense or, he's crazy. I'm already known, like, through San Diego, some people in Arizona, um, up north going towards LA, like, a lot of people know me, and some of them got triggered, like, oh, what? Victor's like this now? Because, I had curiosity beyond curiosity, because it's a trauma, It's me trying to figure out why guys think that girls are hoes and sluts when really they're the same. Why do guys say bros over hoes when really you're supposed to find one love and be happy? Because pretty much if you're picking a bro over a hoe, which you both are hoes, then that's saying that you're not straight when you act like you are. These are important things that people need to pick up, because the brainwash manipulation part of our downfalling cycle, in mythology, Hercules slicing the heads off of the hydrants, uh, three-headed monster that keeps building war necks. That is what I believe is the same as a domino effect. I've been trying to put spirituality with science and, crush down on what I believe is what is being used today, which shouldn't be. It's making a lot of uh, money and sucking everyone dry here and there, and it hurts because us being the middle class, we should have been happy being the middle class. Us becoming lower class, and those that were already lower class never deserved to be lower class. So that's where I'm sad about currency and a lot of places that are actually hurting a lot of people. And we've had many devastating things happening here in the United States, and I know they were all happening all around the world. As far as what I believe on one of my theories of what most of the world is, um, and it really really hurts to know that none of this never needed to happen. You know, so if you keep following me, and somebody wants to bring more attention to me as far as keeping me here long enough to help you all understand and feel free, then I really appreciate it, because I don't want me to go out with getting the honor from all of you for me thinking about all of you, if that makes sense. Like, I don't care about statues or anything. I just want names to constantly always be put into, like, on stones or something. You know what I mean? Like, something on the ground that's like regular rocks. Like, I was writing on rocks the other day. They were in the house. It was a big bucket, and we don't know whose it was. But I said, before I take them back out, I'm gonna write good messages on them. And then I started throwing a bunch of them out, like, around the apartment. And I was gonna get back to the rock again. Like, we should have so much hieroglyphic being made today, and at the same time being more like villages. No matter how many cities are in between, those are all villages. And, like, that way of life, from breaking down something that is really holding us all down and making us suffer more, we got to break apart from that. And so I really hope that firemen, policemen, doctors, lawyers, judges, everybody, military, that are all just working for, I really hope they can understand this message, because it's time that we stop seeing all of our families fight for families that were lost, whether it was something that was conspiracy or it was profit, and the things that come with it, things that are domino effects that were natural. Life wouldn't be hard for anybody, but domino effects that were put man-made, or, visitor that became reptilian, mammal, and primal instinct, along with the third eye back there. We really need to share this earth, because, you don't really see too many people take pictures at White Houses or press and see people's daughters with, two eyes, or two slices in the eyes. People that have inflammation, that are not completely human, that, had shade on their neck. We didn't need to see a princess pass that is queen in my eyes because she forever lives. Um, the fact that we had 33 years missing from BC and AD, that's really messed up for us to not really know where we're at as far as JC's life, because he's still walking and he's still alive, but he's like resting, he's happy to be out here and find those that are really always praying to him and God. Like, it really means the world to him and everyone from past, present, and future. And it's just trippy because everything that seems to be like of profit that has hurt us, being like the equation of MC squared that's wrong before it was actually the right answer, it seems like it left loopholes to make sure that things happen natural. Like the last red flags, like people born that are actually thinking more, even if they weren't, high school honor class, going to college, finishing with their masters and associates, like I didn't do any of that. And I know a lot of other people were great. Like martial arts was one of the main benefactors as far as a real good healthy diet. Not everything healthy, but everything needs to be like half and half because of how society is. And you need to have a lot of meditation, and hopefully you could do all that without traumas, because it's not just those, I had a life where I was mad that there was always drugs here and there in the world, and yet people were getting arrested, locked up for it. And all of that hurts when other people are the ones that are bringing it. Like, all of that needs to stop as far as borders, scientists in the United States, things that are brand new in Europe, which really should never been out here, and it's what they call dropped on the market, whether it's on Wall Street, or it's what I call the well, I never been on it, but we do know of the dark WEB, and it's not right how everything is legally, illegally getting pressed in our faces to make all of us and our seeds that are our children become weaker mentally and spiritually, and more just workers, like how that whole idea of like aliens making the slaves, take their gold and put it in the spaceships to power the spaceships. It's like BS. But the whole part, what I'm saying is like, we shouldn't be getting angry and not loving this life and thinking nothing's fair, and I don't care about that stupid plan, and like I just want that Lamborghini, and like our country's the best, that country's the best. People are making songs about this country. It's not fair. Like, I'm an American and I love the world, and that's why I had to go down this path, because so many times I wanted to find freedom and find a good happiness as far as work hard. I thought making good money and staying on top of bills, that was freedom. But what about the other 16 hours of the day or 10 hours a day that you go home to see your family, and they don't even know you? And next you know, it's like you were a sweet child and now you're on the streets and you're yelling at me and you don't want to listen to me when I'm your parent. Like, I've seen all of that, point like right in my face, and it hurt. And that's not even bad, like as far as us Americans, because what I also feel for other places, which is the same, for you all, but there's people that are dying, their kids, with weapons and going to war, and places that are running out of people that are in military. So, they're getting more people that, who cares about who? Like, why are you guys in power? Like, that really hurts, because there should be world peace. We are all carbon based. We're all from this planet. Mother Earth is alive, because if it was a dead rock, there would be nothing that could grow on it. No fruit, no vegetables. No animals would live, which we are part of this earth because we eat all that to live, and we breathe the air. And we are also the humans that, have the reptilian mind mixed with the mammal. Like, we need to stop playing games and get together as far as not needing a war ever, I know we have a couple hundred years before the next, what do you call it, comes near us, to where like, as they call it, Nibiru, but I honestly don't believe the Anunnaki part, because what have you seen on Earth that's supposed to, uh, look like what looks like reptilian as far as every movie, um, every truth behind the book that was the movie, Da Vinci Code, no offense, the Bible, the Quran, and all these things. Like, who's the one that made the prophecy part? Who put the Black Plague in those days of 13 AD? Like that obviously was like pesticide type stuff that was letting the rats like get sick instead of kill them. And who already orchestrated this science, this witchcraft that actually infected the rats and made a lot of people die from that plague that they never had before. It's very scary to know a lot of stuff when I've never been military, and I'm not trying to give up like this people's military. I'm not trying to give up theirs. I'm just saying, why are we still fighting? Why aren't we all coming together? If it wasn't for Queen Diana, I would have never wanted to accept reptilian. I would not like being reptilian as far as being mammal. Like, I would never ever accept the thought that any of those are royal and they're treating us badly. But she, had a baby in her womb that was Muslim, and it just showed that she wanted to save the world. Bruce Lee, Tupac really helped me out. JFK, I mean, Gandhi, yes, so many out there, and when you think about it, who were the first really like psychos out there? It's like, well, first going backwards was like London and Jack the Ripper, and then you also had like people that were glad that Queen Elizabeth, who had a lot of blood on her hands from just either already being like that or having to go through training when she was a little kid. People that made her do stuff in order to see how wicked she could be. And like I said, bless Queen Diana. She lives forever in my heart. I had great teachers that really loved me, showed me a lot of partial parenting, and just a lot of people around the world. I mean, how do you go from having a home that you thought was great and you don't remember the traumas, but you're still happy and slow, but thinking you're smarter than people that were like your siblings, and we all had that little fight battle of like, huh, and like I was always kind of catching up on that, but still, it was just something that was instilled with being around my dad, where I was catching on stuff too. So he was right, and I was getting closer to being right, and with him, coming home angry from certain days of dealing with stress all day, he ended up, being a little bit abusive physically, like, slapping around. I got older. I stuck up for everybody when they were older than me, of course, my siblings. And, like, it was just sad for a bit. I got the ugly end of the stick because I ended up becoming the biggest, needing family, as far as knowing I needed family from the beginning. The most in that part, just knowing, like I wasn't the person that said, oh, F that, I don't need none of that. I was just always like, huh, like, so we all need a family, but as much as I tried to stick around, I just never was accepted, My dad, he grew tired and he may be jealous and just, he didn't love me the same, and I really wish that I could have fixed that, but it sucks because the part that I have to tell you is all this trauma and everything, the knowledge, the greatness of caring about everyone else more than myself, but knowing I have to stay here, whether it's me growing old and dying or whether it's standing for what I believe in, it's like I had to be here, and then boom, I'm in a situation where I thought I was going to go uphill with my life, and everything started crashing down, because of my living situation, but everything's a lot better now, and I'm really happy, I have truth and knowledge that just gives me such a great feeling that I'm walking on gold. And if it's not walking on gold, then it's obviously not worth thinking it's the truth. But I really, really feel that like everyone can connect the dots if they listen, if they stay quiet, and they just help pray for their loved ones and for me, just long enough for me to live out this dream, you know? So there you have it. There's a lot more information. I just don't want to be making it look like I'm trying to make trouble for anybody and everyone because I just want world peace. And as far as, aliens, if they're not here, like, come on, we're smarter than that. How do you have reptilian mammal in our brain? How do you have people that are suffering? Like, why did somebody get greedy? Why did all this go in a system where it looks to me like there's always been other planets that had life on there, but they're all dry. So when it goes to all these little testimonies on the proof that I have, I've talked to over 500,000 people at least, and I've done research. So there's a lot of great, smart people that have to stay quiet on the little bit they know, and there's a lot of people that have to stay quiet on the lots they know. But whatever it is that everyone's told, it was such a blessing to connect the dots further than that because there's parts of just wanting to know what's up or, take themselves from being a U.S. citizen and just being a tribal member with their tribal member number. It's still kind of a form of keeping us on a leash. And that's kind of why I really want to reach out to all the native tribes because I'm trying to explain how America was originally the natives, but I don't want it like where, we want you people to get out of here. No, we want to share it, but we want everyone to bring back all the animals or at least let them repopulate so they could help give nutrients to the soil. We want to help clean the water, which is, natural stones and natural plant life that eats up stuff like all that waste. We have the materials, we have everything that's on this earth. Like if we're having a janitorial room for a kitchen at a restaurant, we have everything to fix everything. Outside of space, we don't have anything, and we don't know what everything is. So, that goes with the idea that there's a lot more to this theory of everything is not what it seems, and everything is more than what it seems, because this is my legacy, and I've always thought of having a legacy, and like, I'm just proud to just hope that everyone can be proud of me, you know? But like I said, I just felt so many good things that just tell me no matter what, this is a no-fail, like it's gonna succeed no matter what, It's just how many of those are willing to say he's right rather than just say, or just rather than hear fire, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to be, like Al Snowden, no offense, I really respect that guy, and I know it sounds terrible, like, what, he betrayed? He wanted world peace, I want world peace, and I'm not betrayed. I just know that he was CIA, and he did the best he could for the United States before he felt scared and obligated, We all really need to save each other. None of us are that different. When you look at Mother Earth being alive and it gives nutrients to everything, we are also like trees, of all types of trees, and we're supposed to be right there growing free. So yeah, I hope this reaches everyone around the world, and I hope I could live a good life as far as wanting to be here. But I tell you, I'm not mentally challenged. I just always wanted to save lives, And I was really taken by Jesus. And another belief on that part, even though it's a little bit scary on this, Jesus was the king of the Jewish. He had so much knowledge. Like, look at where I'm coming out from all this, and I'm not from the military. I didn't do well in botany. I barely got a C minus in administrative justice. And all of that time, I was a stoner, hurting in life, legging school, but always having trouble waking up early, and always going to school in my later high school years at like 10, 12, maybe 1, and, that's the reason why I couldn't keep playing football, because I had to make grades. That's another story that I don't really care about, but I was always a big monster, and I just didn't know enough. I was slow, and I was picked on and bullied, like, on a few things where I could bring it up, but it's like, it's not a big deal, because when it came to fighting, it wasn't about that. It was just being at school making fun of me where I was embarrassed, But But yeah, I've heard so many times, not from my own pains, but feeling other people's pains. Um, I got great awareness from intuition, which was like somebody feeding me the great knowledge that helped me to understand the truth, you know? Currency going into digital dollar, that's already like the end game of sucking up. Uh, let's just say it's going to make a lot of people not know what to do when we don't get that. We don't get that type of benefit. And, you know, like I said, a lot of things are being switched out, you know. And I noticed from being a cook and always loving food that stuff is not as nutritious as it used to be. Things that are actually uh, having preservatives are actually making you more preservative, like your body. You know, you are what you eat. So that's why we need to get back to fruits and vegetables, and we need to make more animals all around the world, and we need to grow more trees. You know, if we have to, we would make uh, water evaporate from the beach in which it would rain. You know, just so it's clean water again. But we need to do something about all the technology and stuff that people shouldn't be working with. You know, if you could make a home instead of using that stuff that you spray after it's all mixed, why not red clay? You know, why don't we use the earth's uh, givings to help make stuff that is home look like, but like part of it is made with clay. You know, things like that. Facials, aren't they just being the main important things to help skincare, um, you know, promoting meditation for self healing as well as natural herbs, toxins, all of this stuff where nobody needs to be that super rich and looking at people like they're not the same and, you know, being behind stuff and doing things that really make it seem like an unnecessary chess game, you know? These people are fighting them, this and that, boom, you know, checkmate, you know? We don't need no checkmate. We actually all need to stand together like one half of the board. And if there's ever a threat, if there's other life on other planets or that, you know, other planet is near uh, our atmosphere so much that it makes the tide rise and it's like a broken planet, but yet you'll see the spaceships as far as some believe. Like that's way long later. So we have time to squash the beef or forget all that because we don't need our seeds and our seeds and our seeds to wait for that day. We just gotta live and pass, but always live. You know, like once I pass on, I'm gonna go back to the soil where it's the ending is the beginning and the beginning is the ending. And whether I come back in another life form, I'm reincarnated, or whether it's just I go back to the soil, which feeds those that are alive, you know, walking around that are not having roots to the ground. Like the thought process doesn't need to exist if the spirit already knows how to keep value on life, you know? So you don't need to worry about thinking like, oh, what happens to me later? This is going to be no more only for a personal part, but it's going to be knowing all the information and it's going to be in the earth and it's going to be happy that it's still alive. You know, we return to the great spirit, the circle of life, as Indians called it. And the circle of life is the earth made in different circles, you know, whether it's spirals, whether it's whatever it is, it's always talking about the earth. So the circle of life, Yahweh, Elohim, Elohara, um, you know, a lot of other languages too, like this is the earth because this is where you belong. This is where you can stay and nowhere else you can travel out. So you have to be able to enjoy your stay in this life. Your spirit will always live when it attaches to the spirit life and it will form again. But the thing is, uh, the soul, which is part of this whole conspiracy thing, is your freedom. And if you're working all the time and you're tired and you're like, dude, I'm just ready for God to like let me rest, you know, it's been terrible. And then your kids are running around, like they don't know you no more. You already went to hospitals, whatever, working, and you get off your shift, or you have to call and say, I have to sleep here, you know, food in the fridge, or, you know, I'll cash app you money, you know, have your friends spend the night, whatever. Like, whenever you're talking to your family, everyone needs to be taken care of and everything needs to be equal on that part. But we're not getting to know our families enough to keep them together. And we're not able to embrace others as family as we draw closer together. That's another domino effect. So everything is actually pairing up as it should be to help you all understand. Sadly, this is the part that sounds a little bit crazy because I've said many things on TikTok. I was like already getting amped up for the thought of, you know, doing everything for everyone and passing away with honor, no matter if it was like they were trying to make it seem like he was lying or, you know, this is all made up when really clearly a lot of people will. It's just who's going to stand up and say this guy isn't lying, that is happy to split all of their billions and whatnot with the rest of the world, you know, make everything equal. That way we are all independent, but we have systems of liability that we're all giving back to, you know, just like the taxpayers. Why isn't there taxpayers for not just construction or things that are on the road? Why don't we have all of us making lots of big money because it's all equally shared and everybody has great taxpayer money, which they don't even mind because it's all completely equal. Like Donald Trump is great, but you know, they kind of like destroyed him as far as everybody chopping his videos and stuff, you know? And like he didn't say it like that. Like, and you know, people are talking about this rigged election, all that, you know. All I know is a fight to try to get that spot and try to be great, you know? And I don't like how they messed it up for him because I feel he wanted to make America great, but I was only thinking about America. We need to make the world great because when you look at, excuse me, all the real prophets, as far as today, people that are sleeping, so they're not able to be called that supposedly, but the ones that are actually using the third eye more, or you know, just having things coming together to help everyone and be a prophet. Like we have so many in history, and I'm getting tired, but I will get back to. Oh, sorry, that's what I was going to say. He who was 33 but did not count the 33 years, had a before and Amino Domini. Um, it's not the same, but I'll tell you, like Trump wanted to do great. They massacred him. This person just wanted to teach, and somebody else tried to destroy him, but then it was part of this belief of like getting everything together. Now, in US, I don't think anybody should be mad at me as far as working under those people that might say, get rid of me, because we know what's real and how it's been floating around the world, you know. Rihanna, a bunch of people are signed to it. And it's kind of like, how is that true? Oh, I heard that rumor. Oh, this and that. Well, if everybody is mixed up in crime and collecting big amount all around the world, then who do you think these people are? And that's why I think the United States, as well as those other people that have been trying that were in the dark, should be able to back me up as I backed you up, but not put your life on the line. Just tell my story, you know, make sure that it goes with telling who were the ones that I really were passionate and like thanking for all this blessing to get this like road that I needed to walk on to just, you know, open the door, you know. Adonai Ori, the light is my Lord, like is not just the sun, but like, you know, it's the earth. And like the fact is, stars from far, they shine bright because they're burning balls of gas. We are next to one. So it really seems like a person that tried to take over with a certain big team that we ended up going after because Big Sister, you know, needed our help, so we went into it. He believed in the black sun, and that thing I really believe is the real sun because it's like an outlet to a bunch of Christmas lights. So if you're near one of those stars, you look back, where's Earth? You wouldn't see Earth, but you'd see a star shining bright. That's all I got to say right now. I really hope this gets to people where they're fascinated and they would like to talk, because I don't want no money. I don't want nothing like that. I really want to work on fixing the world with, the fame should only be while like people are like, he's alive still, because if this to you is true right away, then I just want everyone to, just be like, thank you, and I'll be like, thank you, like equalness. Like I really value equalness, like call me the Libra scale, you know. But also I was gonna say, TikTok a while ago, I said if I had to give myself like in any form, as far as like, somebody trying to make sure I stayed quiet, and everybody else was like, oh, that person passed because they trying to make them stay quiet, but he already had so much truth out there, then I would freaking jump in, like, hurry up, because it's been a painful life, but there's so many great people, and there's so many beautiful trees, there's so much great food, there's so many amazing animals. It's just beautiful, but, I do have a little bit of, like, heavy backpacks that, burning my shoulders for so long, I'm tired, but no matter how tired I am, I always had to take care of myself, no matter how lonely or depressed, how overweight. I just always had to take care of myself, and it got me that strong to want to take care of all of you. So, God be with us all.